and welcome to the highlights video for the Haiku Components New Zealand Formula First Championship, where we're here at round 2 at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park. I'll now bring in, just before qualifying, our Taupo-based local Formula First expert, Jonathan Morton. Jonathan, qualifying here, all important. How do you see it going?
Well, a bit different weather conditions today. Obviously, it's a bit more overcast and quite windy, so it'll be a bit more tactics to try and get the draft down the main straight to get a good toe, to get a good time to put the car on pole.
And you look for, you reckon there'll be more tight racing like we'd had at Manfield, or maybe a bit more spread-eagled?
I think you might find a few more clear gaps. With the technical infield, it does tend to break the guys up a bit more, but once again, qualifying's a crucial thing to be able to get up the front and stay there for the races.
All right, thanks, Jonathan. We'll see you afterwards. As the cars get ready for qualifying, a few last-minute changes and the drivers getting warmed up, we now go to the action track side to see who can claim pole for round 2. So here we are on Saturday night to cover off another eventful day of Formula First racing at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park. Some may say a championship changing day or a changing of the guard. To cover off qualifying, I bring in the Taupo-based Formula First expert, Jonathan Morton. Jonathan, qualifying perhaps a little bit more uneventful as to what we normally see, but how did you see it?
I didn't see a lot of it, actually, to be honest. Unfortunately, the Conrad Clark car ended up stuck in the gravel on the outlap with a stuck throttle. So while I was sort of drowning my sorrows out on the thing, it looks like, looking at the results, that Caleb Nato has successfully translated his form from Manfield, and he's been able to bring it here and scored a well-deserved pole position. That's
a bit poorly engineered from you. So, a few surprises there in qualifying?
Yeah, I don't think so overall. Obviously, the form guide from Manfield stayed up there. We had Chris Simons second. We were expecting good things from him, been very good at Taupo. And, of course, Reece Hendelcox and Callum Crawley, filled out the second row. Liam Foster wasn't actually able to make it to qualifying. He had to try and get an education this morning, and apparently that's a bit more important than motor racing. And then going back, there was a fantastic effort by some rookies. Blake Evans, Taylor Hurst and Conrad Clark, after those issues, managed to fill out the next positions and it set up what was hopefully to be an exciting race.
And here with a few words is our pole sitter, Caleb Natoa. Caleb, we spoke earlier and you were a bit nervous about qualifying, but you managed to come away with pole. How did it feel out there?
The track was good, the car was good. Managed to get a good toe down the straight and managed to put a good lap together and put it on pole.
So looking at the race, who do you think your main challenge is going to be?
There's definitely a lot out there. Chris is up the front with me, and Reece Callum on the second row, so it'll definitely be close.
You think you've got it enough to win?
Yeah, I think we've got the car speed and all of that. We just have to pack it up and send it.
Another great effort there by the man from Martin. And moving on to race 1, the start was pretty clean and settled down to a pretty normal Formula First rhythm. But then lap 4, it went off.
Well, quite literally. Caleb Nato and Chris Simons had a little bit of a gap out front, and all of a sudden down to the fast sweeper, Callum Crawley ran wide. Next thing, Conrad Clark was off, and Taylor Hurst also had issues, all in the one corner. They regrouped themselves. Alex Hawley had a moment at the chase at the end of that lap, and then on the following lap, when we hadn't thought that was enough, it went off even more. Chris Simons trying to make a pass for a lead on Caleb Natoa, ended up parked on the infield of the chase after not quite contact, but I think it was pretty close. And he wasn't able to restart the car, so unfortunately a DNF for Chris, which has really put his championship on life support. And once we got through that, Reece Hendelcox came past us on the start-finish line, couldn't select gears, he retired from the race. Travis Day retired from the race. Blake Evans ran wide at A1 and did some damage to the car, which would ultimately jeopardise the rest of his race.
I think one of the another talking point about the race, perhaps a good thing as opposed to all these people having DNFs and problems, was actually Liam Foster coming from the back, getting his education, starting off grid 20 and coming through to 4th.
Yeah, it played into his hands, absolutely. Everybody fell off in front of him. He clearly still had a lot of car pace. He did some fantastic lap times with not a lot of help from the draft. And he'll be looking tomorrow to use the good grid position that he's now gained to move forward and hopefully probably be really challenging for the podium. Also, a fantastic effort from from Bob Dillo, 5th. I would say that's probably his best championship race position. And Dave Scammell returning this round. We didn't have him in the first round. He used all his experience just to stick it out, and he finished a fantastic 6th place.
And so now we'll have a few words from the man of the moment, Caleb Nato. Caleb seemed to be getting used to talking to you. That one was gifted to you again. How was it?
It was a good race. We had some good pace. I was pretty sure we were still nearly in the fastest lap, and we just let it straight from the start all the way to the end.
So 10-ish second gap back to second place. You can't really be too unhappy with that. Looking to tomorrow, do you think you can keep it up?
Yeah, definitely. I know we have the car pace. We'll hopefully still have the car pace for tomorrow. And I know there's a lot of backpackers who are extremely fast out there, and I'm pretty sure it'll be all on for tomorrow.
So who do you see, as long as they don't fall off the road like they did today, who do you see as your main competitors out there?
Definitely Chris Simon. He's pretty fast. Callum Crawley is right up there. Reece Cox, Blake Evans, all of them are pretty fast, and I know they'll be up there. And obviously today I'd just like to thank Steve King and Dad for the quick car, JJ Walters and everybody else who's helped me out the weekend.
As a young man from Martin would say, oosh, what an effort. We now move through to Sunday, which may be a little bit less bizarre than today, but will probably provide some more championship-changing action here at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park. Here at the end of Sunday at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park for round 2 of the 2017-18 Haiku Components New Zealand Formula First Championship. Bringing in once more our Taupo-based Formula First expert, Jonathan Morton. Jonathan, race one won by Reece Cox, our birthday boy. How did you see that one play out?
Yeah, it was quite an interesting race this morning, wasn't it? Instead of the usual 8-lap races, I think the guys probably did about 13, 14 laps. We had a couple of red flags, delayed start, so a couple of extra formation laps. And unfortunately, there was quite a decent crash in the first start, coming out of turn 1, which saw the retirement of Taylor Hurst. He wasn't able to continue after that.
Yeah, also damage to Nathan Sidiono and Bailey Fraser, and also your man Conrad Clark didn't manage to even complete a lap. Yeah,
well, after they cleaned that mess up on the second start, unfortunately, there was another incident. I think Bob Dillo was involved in that one. Nathan again, unfortunately, so he didn't have much luck coming out of turn 1 on the first lap. And Conrad Clark's car had a bit of a mechanical failure, didn't accelerate out of the corner, so unfortunately a DNF for us.
So the race went on, and perhaps not your usual Formula First type racing. It was pretty much everyone was out by themselves. A couple of little battles down the field, and to speak about his race, here's Reece Cox. You had a big gap at the end of that wet race. Once we finally got it started for the third time, how was it?
Just put my head down and didn't really think about who was behind me. Just raced my own race and came out at the end on top, which was the main thing.
Not a bad birthday present, obviously, after the struggles of yesterday. Looking forward to the next race, which looks like it's going to be dry. How you think that was going to play out?
It was a good birthday present. There's a few showers floating around, so hopefully there's a few more. Keep that track wet and we'll see what happens.
So after that interesting race, we then looked at the skies as the sun came out, the track dried. Everyone went back to dry setups. Some people had repairs, like Bob Dillo, who managed to repair the rear of his car. And we looked forward to a hopefully dry last race for the weekend, and it didn't quite pan out that way.
No, it was actually very similar to the last race we had here last season. We're sitting on the grid, everyone looked at the sky, and then all of a sudden it started raining just as the cars took off for the formation lap, back to a wet race again. But everybody was on the same boat, all on dry tyres, dry setup, so it was about who could adapt quickly. And the man we've been talking about a lot this season, Chris Simons, he finally got the brakes he needed, and he led from the front the whole way and dominated the race. He had a few challenges from Caleb Nato, but managed to hold him off towards the end.
Funny enough, Chris must like the rain up here, because he won the last race of last championship, and he's won the last wet race this weekend. Although a few people may perhaps making mistakes and not being able to be contenders in the championship.
Yeah, I think that's been the story of the championship so far. There's only one guy that's done the business in every single race, and that's Caleb Nato, and he's got a very deserving championship lead.
So to hear Chris's thoughts about his race win, we'll go over to him. Chris, bit of an average weekend to start with, but you've come back with a win. You're hoping this is going to continue on to 2 weeks' time?
Better continue on. We've got a long slog ahead of us to get back near the front, but we're on the right track from today onwards, so hopefully it all goes well.
Obviously, on the dummy grid, it was dry, and then it started to rain. Did you pucker up a little bit then?
Not too bad. I did almost forgot to go back to my dry setup about 5 minutes before we rolled out, so I quickly switched it back, which if I'd forgotten that would have been much better, but that's all right. Everyone's in the same boat, so it's good.
Now looking at the CMS Hard Charger Award for the round that we're giving away, I'm not sure, but there's plenty of people put their hands up for it, but you've got one in particular you think deserves it.
Well, it has to go to young Liam Foster. At the end of the day, he wasn't here for qualifying. He had a bit of education to catch up on, and he managed to drive through from 4th on the race yesterday afternoon, race 4 of the championship, and another 4th place, I believe, in race 5, and he kept it off in another charging race this afternoon when he went off the track, fell back to about 6th or 7th and charged back through to a podium. So I think he's quite the clear winner of the CMS Hard Charger Award for this round.
And quite deservedly getting 3rd place for the round, Liam Foster. And to extend his championship lead after all the bizarre events this weekend was Caleb Natoa, and here's a few words he has to say. Caleb, you've extended the lead with a win and 2 second places. You're looking forward to coming back here in 2 weeks?
Yeah, definitely the car seems to have good pace, and yeah, I'm very excited to come back.
So obviously the win was a little bit gifted to you with a bit of a gap, and you had to work a little bit for the 2 second places that you got. Do you feel the car's capable of keeping on the pace?
Yeah, definitely, as long as the maintenance holds up and everything stays in together, I think we should have pace all weekend.
And who do you think your main challenges are coming back here?
Oh, you never know. Somebody could... Well, everybody's a lot faster. Definitely Blake Evans, Chris Simons, Callum Crawley and Reece Cox.
So all said and done, that's it for round 2 of the 2017-18 Haiku Components NZ Formula First Championship. Now we look to 2 weeks in time, where we are here again at Bruce McLaren Motorsport Park with the Speedworks round, which will include all the top tier motorsport classes of New Zealand.
This will be the main attraction.
Of course, Jonathan, and I believe we'll drag you out again, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. And everyone watching at home, see you then.
No, it looks like there's a volcano erupting. No, it's just Foster's car started up.